everyone, Joshua Hanlon here at Brick Rodeo, and today we're taking a look at a massive steampunk collaborative layout. So we've got several builders who are going to take us through this big layout. We've got the first one here if you want to introduce yourself and tell us about it.
My name's James Browder. I am with TechSlug in Austin, Texas. We had a total of 22 builders, 20 from Austin, 2 from Houston lugs, and we will put together a steampunk Venice type city. So this is Mega Spark City. We did this as a big collaborative. We try to do one every year, and our goal here was to have bases that people can start with. You can see are standardized, and then we're able to then build custom modulars for everybody's unique take on a city. So our first building, I'm going to turn it over here to Hanlon, who's going to walk us through everyone who's doing the construction here.
Okay. All right. So I don't know all the details, but I'll explain a few of the things. This one was done by a family, and they wanted to work together on it. So we have, the dad was thinking on an airship base, and he has the building on the right, and then we have a hanging garden on the left. You have the pumps bringing the water up, and then all the members of the family represented and raining down. And it was generally the airship is gone, so that flew off to somewhere else. We have the next one here. And Reggie was built up around an island, and he's got all sorts of details on there. You have that this is actually a forge that was built inside. The hat kind of spontaneously appeared, apparently. And his group that's working it are these orange spacemen that are all around. Somehow some frogs captured a seal. He wasn't sure exactly how that happened, but it's there. This forge, of course, has to have an exhaust, and so you have the smoke coming out the ears, and you have the power behind it with the water powering the mechanism in the back corner. So the next one here is Bart, and Bart is right here, and I think it would be best for Bart to explain his Crystal Palace. So.
Hi, I'm Bart Marable with Bart's Brickworks, and mine is it's really based on the Crystal Palace, the Great Exhibition 1851. But I kind of wrote the idea behind it was to really kind of imagine what if the adventurers theme had continued on and had other adventures that weren't a part of the original line. So that's why you have things like discovering Atlantis or time travel or a trip to the moon. And so that's why throughout it what I've really tried to do is to try to really honor a lot of the tradition of the adventurers. And so you have things like Dinosaur Island or the Egyptian expeditions that are really kind of incorporated into it.
Yeah, I love how different exhibits are kind of labeled here as you kind of go through the different adventures.
Yeah, and it's strange because I went back and really looked at a lot of the pictures from the Great Exhibition, and that's actually really what they did. They had Egypt or India, and they had these huge labels that were on the side of the building that were really what we were really kind of using and really trying to evoke that too. One of the real challenges though in this is that I wanted it to be really airy and open, but it was really difficult because you have it works well when it's all put together, but when you separate out the pieces, they became really unstable. So I had to basically build some Technic frames for it to travel. And so basically, when I pull the piece out, I will brace it with some Technic for it to travel. Once you put it in together, it's really fine. And I also had to run the wires up through for the lighting, because again, you usually hide it in the, really in the walls. There are no walls here, so how do you do that? So really ran the wires up back behind the columns and kind of attached them behind it. So it's all kind of hidden away to make it look pretty clean.
Yeah. And you also have great movement in here. How did you incorporate that?
Yeah, what we really wanted to do is really try to make it really, again, kind of going from that steampunk era, that kind of idea of, really kind of over-engineered and movement and gears. And so really what we've got is really kind of really two key elements that are moving. The one in the center is really the rocket that's really kind of the, kind of just doing a rotation around it. The more complex piece was the elevator, which is really kind of on the other side, and it's really based on the principle of a Falkirk wheel. And so, in Scotland, there's this great kind of elevator that kind of really moves, canals, ships between different levels of canals. And so it's really based on that principle. So it's really kind of incorporating that into the idea of an elevator that kind of moves people up and down.
Excellent work. Thank you so much for your contribution.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll keep going then.
Continuing on down, the next one is actually my build with my wife, so I know more of the storyline here, and there's a lot of different aspects. My wife is more on the aesthetics, I'm more on the mechanicals, and a lot of this started with, we know the guy who has the next door one, and my wife and him have a little fun banter, and so we knew his was going to be kind of poured and things, so his guys needed something to do. And so if you notice, there's some guys jumping the fence back there with some money, and they're heading into, well, they need a show. And so we have the Moulin Rouge in our Steampunk City, and we've got the can-can dancers on top. We've got the represent the French flag with the blue, white, and red. We've got the emblematic sail and the spinning on the windmill from it. But we also, it's steampunk, so they needed like a neon sign, and so instead of neon, we have the conveyor belt with the arrows pointing where these intrepid men should go. And then we have the man flying around on the top, and from a building standpoint, we like these Star Wars planets for doing domes, and so the one on top there, for example, is Coruscant, which really fit the steampunk kind of vibe. But then she kept building these different ones, and so we have like a golden dragon, including with the elements at the top to kind of mimic that. Then we kind of have like a sand blue bat kind of feel with the dragon on the left. And so each one of these, she worked and reworked until she got it kind of how she wanted to have that look going. And so again, you have the guys here with the money, you even have them coming over here, going down a little alleyway, all heading to the burlesque show.
I love the variety of types of buildings here, even this one with the kind of piping all over.
And she likes to use things in interesting ways, and you can see this kind of with all these balls here. Those are actually the hitch element. And so all these like balls and turned into a very cool kind of look to it. And so, and finding like ways of tiling the roof with those red and translucent tiles that were somewhere available, and I'm not sure what they were for, but they made a nice roof.
This building section next to it, the ingots are really interesting there. I've seen those used a lot, but never in kind of the color pattern like that.
Exactly. When we saw what this is Ben's build here, what Ben had done with the vertical wind turbine and then the lighthouse, but the thing that caught my attention was exactly the same as you, was the ingots. And the mixture of patterns, and I spoke to him, and he would initially have thought just do gold, but he couldn't accumulate them, and so he took all the ingots and kind of did that. The end result, I think, is better than if it had been just one color. So he's got his mech there. He's got the guys unloading. Have not seen the other side because by the time I got here, it was kind of all kind of mixed in.
Lots of crates and things in there.
Yes, definitely. It's got the port kind of aspect, and the guy in the mech, Ben loves doing mechs, and so he kind of wanted to integrate that in. And with the steampunk, it definitely you need a mech. And so,
what is this section back here?
There is Missy and her
Missy, Beth,
and Nick, and they end up liking to do kind of a garden scene, and they've got. I'm sorry, I can't see everything through. My wife built too tall. Urban garden is what looks to be the kind of the main core in there, and they've got
some nice sand green in there. Nice variety of buildings too.
I also like to do it, and a lot of things on the buildings you'll see the exposed gear work, and that kind of is one of the things. And they've made it brightly colored to match into their multicolored garden that's in there.
Yeah.
And then George, do you want to discuss your build or?
Okay. Here we go.
Hey, how you doing? My name's George. So I wanted to do a prison and a police station. And the prison, I kind of was like, I want to do an homage to Johnny Cash. So hence Johnny Pence. And then a play on words for the Folsom State Prison. I did the Flotsam State Prison. And did a little bit of cool stuff here that I thought, like kind of my first time kind of doing motion and lighting. And yeah, I'll do a little chase scene down there with Jack Sparrow leading the jailbreak out or the run. But yeah, that's it. A couple little steampunk crafts, my aircraft, a little paddy wagon, and then a little high-speed police boat.
There you go. No matter what type of transportation they have in here.
Yeah, and then I have actually a motorcycle over there as well, but it didn't make sense over here, so I just put it on loan to them. So
I like how this is kind of its own island here, like an Alcatraz type feel.
yeah, and then they were like, does anybody want a train track? And I was like, yes. I mean, that totally completes my whole build. Like that's it. It does it.
Great work. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And George designed his in studio before building some, and you see with this a mixture of different things. Like he's definitely a studio builder as well as Ben, but my wife is more of a experiment, come up with different things and try to get it to look. Ultimately, though, no matter which way it was done, a lot of interesting builds kind of came out from that. And even those that were doing studio, when they got it and they built it, like obviously there's adjustments that you make when you build it with physical. So it's turned out to be an interesting mismatch that still also works.
Absolutely. That takes us to a very unique tower here.
Yeah, we have the Tesla coil there, and there's a couple of them on the other side there. This is from Brian Lasso. And again, you need power for your city, so what better way than have a Tesla coil up there to power the city. And he's got this nice way of building these bridges. He builds them with this very flexible technique, but then he's got a mold that he puts underneath so that they're consistent whenever you get to a convention. Things don't look the way they did at home. He wanted them to have an exact shape, so he has this template he puts there, presses it down, and then puts it into place.
Nice.
I found that to be a very interesting building style. So at the corner we have an airship factory, and Pam is the one behind that, which I think wants to speak on.
Okay.
My Skyforge manufacturer, and it's basically a Pimp My Ride for the steampunk style, and they are making the fuel inside here.
Whoa, very colorful in there.
Yes, that was kind of the point. Kind of something mysterious going on and happening, and it's very fun.
So what is happening up here with all the...
They're kind of picking out their balloon that they want to, in order to fly their vehicle, whatever their choice is.
And what are some of your favorite kind of parts or techniques you use kind of on the outside? I love the pathways around there.
Yeah, I love the pathways. My favorite thing really is the girls' dresses. I decided to try and do something different, because they always have the cute little dresses, so I used the radar dishes in the different colors and tried to match their handbags.
I love fashion is very important here.
Absolutely. Steampunk is all about fashion.
Great work. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and then we have kind of our airfield here, and Rich is the person behind the airfield, is next to the camera over there. He'd like to speak about it.
You want to introduce yourself?
Sure, my name's Rich. I built this airfield, and when we say collaborative build, really everybody else helped me out because I got really sick, unfortunately, and wasn't able to put the time in that a lot of folks, of other folks were. So somebody gave this to fill in a lot of the space, and I did unfortunately on the trip down here, it all fell apart in the truck, and I had to put it all together the first day. But it gives a nice low, nothing to look at, so you can look at the beautiful building behind it.
Yeah, I love the airstrip build there, which is kind of the simple white lines, so it just kind of indicates the landing strip.
Thanks. Yeah. It was a lot of fun, and I can't, proud of the whole team for winning the collaborative build. It's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And I guess this is a good perspective to kind of see the central large building here, which is the transportation hub. And you have the airfield over here kind of linked with a bridge over to it. You've got the railway going through. The other side there is a ship, I believe, that's down there. And so this is kind of like the central connection point. You've got the clock tower, because what is transportation if it's not on time? Well, it should be on time at least. And so he's got on the top what I think appears to be like a landing platform also for additional airships to come in. You've got the band laying up there, greeting, I guess, getting ready to greet the incoming passengers coming in. You've got C-3PO for some reason down there with carrying the packages for somebody. The nice garden surrounding the fountains that are mirroring each other. It's very nice work with the gold on the using the clip brackets for the top, and then you have the statues on all the levels. Brian did a very good job and took a long time, but it turned out very nice in the end there. So then in the corner here we have The platform was done by David Bryan from Austin, but the dirigible on top that's under construction is from Gears, who's part of Dallas. So this collaboration was mostly Austin, but there were also some members like Pam and later Anthony from Houston, as well as Gears from Dallas. So it's a very interesting Technic construction that he's got going there. You've got the guy working on the motors there, and having played with Technic before, I'm impressed with being able to do something like that that's actually staying in place like there. It's not so easy to always have that going.
Yeah, those giant Technic gears in there, not something you see very often.
Yeah, I think those are from like the large droid. I think there was a droid that had those, and it's an interesting parts usage to do that and clip the Technic axles into that for rigidity. So lots of different eras and different types of air vehicles going on here between the dirigibles. You've got Da Vinci's flying machine, balloons there and back over there. Just different ways, and because in steampunk there's no one way to do something.
Absolutely.
So then we've got the tentacles there, the Kraken, who's attacking our fine semi-aquatic city. Those were done by James, and they feature the translucent pedals. There's over 6,000 of those that are in there. They have this very nice organic shape with the plates connecting between and a flexible rod going down the middle that allows the definition of the shape. But it also has attachment points that are on some of the suckers on there that are used for effect in some of theirs with people attacking to try to fend off the Kraken before it takes down the entire city.
The city is very calm for having these giant
That is true.
pink tentacles.
But, you know, there's so much commotion going on in the city all the time anyway, so what's another crazy thing attacking? I mean, Johnny Cash is in town, so who knows? Or Johnny Pence, my bad, is in town, so who knows what's going to happen.
To make our way around then?
Yes. And you can see the tentacle even going inside the transportation hub. So the railroad's down for now. Sorry, it happens. The next over here is, there's a big storyline from Benjamin Hoos, who did this area here. And so the idea is Oriental Expedition, I think, was what his inspiration was. And this is like a embassy from this Oriental kingdom. And so you have their buildings there with a nice pagoda and various different temples. On the far left, you see they're building something. I'm not quite sure exactly what they're up to, but it might not be good. Apparently a robot army and an expedition. And so this large ship in the front with the paddle wheel is being outfit and kitted for an adventure to Atlantis. What they're going to do when they get there, probably they're not up to no good. There's definitely not pirates on board, and they're definitely not going to take all the stuff. Definitely not. And the ship down there that matches the aesthetic is also the Emperor is coming to visit his embassy that's in Megaspark City. And so this all kind of links it together. The large tower back there is by Brian Lasso, the same person behind the Tesla coils. Well, what city wouldn't be complete without a recruitment for Blacktron? Because they need more people for, I'm sure they're up to good, probably. But he's got this very nice Blacktron tower, and he's using a lot of lights, a lot of motion implied by the lights that's going on in there. I can't wait to see it tonight when the lights off and everything lights up. This will be definitely a major attraction into that. The next one down there is by Frankie and his wife Dawn. Worked on that, and on this. Dove also contributed to this area in here.
And the skull.
And the, what's that?
The elementary school.
Oh, the elementary school. Forgot that. Yeah. So the elementary school there was worked on by Dove and their kids, Chloe and Hunter. And they have, of course, the town needs a school. I mean, you got to educate the next generation to build the next crazy way of doing something overwrought and way more complicated than it should be, should be there in a steampunk city. And so they have the elementary school and a very nice use of parts on the columns between the levels to get those different kind of textured effects. And the railing down at the bottom, I can't see exactly which piece that she used, but it gives a nice different look than just a traditional Lego railing using that method. So next we have this large bridge that was done by Frankie and Dawn. And there's an interesting assortment of people, and even Star Wars people involved in here. A guy riding a dinosaur, because why not? And so he's got the mech guy, definitely a very steampunk-looking gentleman there with him. And then, of course, on the bridge, you're going to have stalls selling different things. And like, if you've similar to in Venice on like the Rialto Bridge, there's all the little stalls selling stuff to the visitors, the tourists. And so we have that here. I don't know precisely what's in each one, but it appears to be some pots selling some food, some ice cream perhaps, and different produce. And then you have a garden on the far end that was also done by Frankie and Dawn. And Dawn does a great job with a lot of the flowers and a lot of the floral, and Frankie as well. And they've got a nice fall, interestingly colored tree there in the middle as a center point for that. And obviously you've got the elephant in the room, or the crane. Brian, do you want to say anything about it, or just going to demonstrate it for us? So yeah, he's a little bit hard to hear over there. This crane involves, how many motors is it? So there are 4 motors in the crane, and it's able to, and 2 hubs in there, and it's able to transmit down to transport down in the rail. So obviously he's got the ability to lift the packages and be able to rotate and angle the boom, correct? Yeah.
That's extremely impressive. Wow.
And also notice when he drives it across, there's no flex on that bridge. It's not moving anywhere. And that's not light, because there are 20 batteries. Okay, 12 in the crane and 8 in the remote. So keeping everything functioning, you gotta keep the beast fed.
Very impressive.
And so the last one down here is Anthony's tower. And Anthony, are you going to speak about your creation here, or?
Okay, here we go.
So here we have the post office for our city. It's called Go In Postal, if you guys can get the reference. I don't know how many pieces, north of 20,000, I'm sure. I'm going to keep on going. I'm going to add more to it, but this is the current phase, the first phase of it. I was fortunate for them to have me join the collaboration. So,
it looks like the boats can sail kind of into the building.
Yes, there's a passageway through both where they can drop off or pick up their packages. Eventually, when I get it lit up, you'll see the post office or post boxes on the right, and then you'll see a counter where you can get your money, change, your currency, send packages, whatever you do in the post office.
What happens in the tower up here?
I mean, this is lighting going on. Eventually, I'm going to have people working in. I intended to have a clock face washer, but I ran out of time.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's really, really impressive start here, so it'll be cool to see what you do in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So, well, thank you for touring all this. It's been interesting to work with all the different people, and we were wondering whenever people bought all the different things, how it would come together. And so I think it came together quite nice. There was a lot of coordination. We had a canvas that we could all kind of place things on and make sure that people had needs for being able to get power to their area was all covered by that. And so far, so good, and we're hoping to display it again in the future, from what I understand. So,
when you got everybody's sections together here at the show, were there any areas that didn't quite meet up or anything that had to be done at the show?
There were a few adjustments that were here and there, just to make sure that it didn't end up with somebody kind of off in a corner that didn't make sense in a corner. So, but ultimately, not that much. I mean, it was a few things in terms of sequencing, but really, it came together pretty good. Now, some of the things didn't do well with the transport to get here. I know that Rich, he said his truck's suspension rattled his Lego into a bunch of pieces, but he ultimately put it back together and it was good. And Anthony, when he was doing his, almost had a catastrophe, but he recovered and it turned out great in the end. And even on ours over there, the balloon is supposed to be floating up and down, and it was for the days before the public, but now the public's here and it didn't want to play nice today. So.
Yeah. So I know Brick Rodeo is happening back in Austin next year in 2026. It'll be in Austin. So will there be another large collab there?
I believe we're planning to display this again there. As far as any new ones, there's some ideas that are being discussed, but nothing's come to mind concretely. But I think we enjoy doing that in Austin. We've done a castle. We've done a Mars base last year. There will probably be more in the future. What it'll be, we shall see.
Sounds good. Thank you so much to you and all of the builders involved here. Great work.
Thank you. You're welcome.